I used to do lots of things.
I used to do things and I'd say things and Jesus I was evil. Take things and break things and Jesus I was evil. I never shook, baby.
Yeah, we're recording, Ben. So I got that entire awkward.
We're here now.
Yeah. So yeah, we're talking October. We're talking zombie movies. We're talking about October. We're talking about Halloween.
Horrorfest episode 3.
That's right.
2023 of
Yeah.
episode 96
Yeah.
of TRM.
Yeah.
No, my God.
Yeah.
Subgenre.
Zombies.
Yes.
So yeah, man. How's your October going?
My October's going swell, just swell.
Cool, man.
How's yours? Does the weather get like 1 degree cooler there?
Yeah, dude, it actually got it got up to the 90s, like 93 or 94 this past weekend. Now it's starting to feel a little bit like fall. Now it's starting to like okay, it's 75 degrees.
A good 88.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny. It's such a slow decline in temperature when it gets to fall, because it's like, okay, for most of summers like high 80s and 90s, and then it's like, okay, now we're going down to 70s. At 90s, and then okay, now we're going down to the low 70s.
You like never really experienced like a brisk 58, do you?
I think one time in December of 1973. No, I mean it actually gets pretty cold and rainy here.
What?
December.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
California?
Yeah.
Los Angeles?
Yeah.
All right, I'll take your word for it, but you're really missing out. I'll tell you why. I don't mean to be that guy who's like, I said the seasons, but like fall kind of rules.
Yeah, fall does rule.
Fall rules when it's before daylight savings.
Yeah.
That sucks when it starts getting dark like 4:30.
Yeah.
That blows. But like this time fall, like this is the first week it got like cool. It's actually super hot like 2 weeks ago, which sucked.
Yeah.
Not even 2 weeks ago, but this is very nice.
Yeah, fall is great. I think fall is.
Should we talk about the weather for an hour and a half?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
But what's funny is that so much of LA does, it feels very California, but there are like pockets of like there are pockets of neighborhoods where it's like, oh, this feels a little bit like, I don't want to say East Coast, but it's kind of like a small town vibe.
Yeah, like Pasadena.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I just have to bring up Pasadena.
Yeah.
It's a nice place to go to in fall. So
I guess it's nice, I suppose.
Yeah.
If you don't get fingered there.
No, Pasadena is much more. There aren't as many homeless people, so it's not.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. No, they kill they slaughter their homeless up there.
Yeah, they use them for fuel. Wring them out like sardines.
Yeah. So zombies.
Yeah, speaking of homeless, zombies, sometimes when I'm walking to my office, I feel like I'm in The Walking Dead. There are some people who aren't doing too hot.
Yeah.
Let's just say.
In New Jersey?
Yes, in New Jersey.
Wow. I thought everybody was just great there.
It's the land of milk and honey over here.
Because I'm like, okay, there's got to be a reason why Ben likes New Jersey, but it's like, okay, you got homeless people, you know, there's no milk and honey there, so I don't.
Yeah, some people aren't doing too hot. No. They're not doing too great, and it does feel like The Walking Dead sometimes. So anyway, zombies is what we're doing today. Because I like them, and they are really what got me into horror. I think, retroactively looking back on like 15 years, like what really like the first subgenre I would say that scared me, not like a little kid type scary, like a lot of things scary as a little kid,
sure,
but as like when you're kind of coming into your consciousness more as like a young, like a tween, zombies scared the shit out of me. I vividly remember watching friends play like Resident Evil 2 on N64, and just zombie movies, and just like how freaked out I would get, but not in like a fun way, kind of too. Which I think has stuck with me, because like it's fun to be scared most of the time. not scared as in like, oh, am I like really about to be in any sort of danger?
Right.
But scared from like works of art.
Yeah.
Like a video game or a movie or TV shows or stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Zombies actually, like, that was the first subgenre I think that really terrified me as a kid as well.
Oh, really?
It was Night of the Living Dead, like the original black and white one. It's
really?
Yeah.
It's so funny because you watched it, because I didn't watch that as a kid. I watched it like last year, I think, during Horrorfest, and I mean it's a great movie. Yeah. But it almost feels like innocent compared to what we see now on TV.
Yeah, seriously. And so I remember exactly how it happened. So it was around Halloween time, and I was probably like 6-7 years old. And so my mom bought a copy of it. It was around October because we were at like a party store, and she was going to host like a Halloween party or something. And so have you, real quick, have you ever noticed why there are so many like free why there are so many copies of Night of the Living Dead floating around? Like
no, I never noticed it.
So if you ever go to like any VHS or DVD rental store, or I know like there aren't that many of it, but any place that sells DVDs, Blu-rays, like you go to the horror section and there are a bunch of different copies.
Just like of the 1968 movie.
Yeah, the original one. Yeah.
Wow.
What happened was they forgot to like copyright it, so anybody can just.
Really?
So, yeah, exactly. So Disney
God,
can be like, hey, we're releasing a Blu-ray of Night of the Living Dead, and then Warner Brothers can release it. Just anybody can do it. You can do it.
Yeah, that's so funny. So you could sell copies of the Night of the Living Dead without repercussions.
Exactly. Yeah. And if you go on YouTube, like there so many people upload it because you can. And some people will colorize it, some people will edit it, and so it's like
interesting.
Yeah.
Are you sure that movie didn't scare you just because you didn't want to see a strong black man in the lead, Joe?
Yeah, I was just coming to that. I was just coming to because like.
What's that guy's a great actor. I forget his name though. He's really good in that.
Yeah, no, he was. But I remember it took me 2 weeks to watch that movie because my mom, she bought it on a whim. She said, "Oh, this movie really scared us as a kid," and then she thought, "Oh, because it's an old movie, it's not going to scare him." And I was like 6 or 7 years old at the time, and then so she put it on, and then I had to turn it off halfway through.
Okay, so you're like really young.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense.
And so I had nightmares for weeks after.
Wow.
And then
really?
but eventually, like weeks later, I was able to I guess I just became a man, and so I was able to finish that second half.
Now you're a man. Man. You ever seen the video of the guy sucking his own dick?
No, I haven't.
In the background. It's so funny. Sorry to any family members who listen to that, but that went around during college. It was just that song playing. Now you're a man, and a guy sucking his own dick.
I've never heard the tale of it.
What was that?
I've never even heard of this.
Oh, that song?
Yeah.
Oh, I think it was in a South Park episode a bunch. It's a real song, I think. Or maybe it's a South Park song. I forget.
Yeah.
But anyway. Yeah, so Night of the Living Dead rules.
Yeah.
It's not the first zombie movie. I think that would go to White Zombie. From 1932, which zombies back then were much more like mind control. And I don't think it had correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think it had anything to do like cannibalism, right?
Right. I think George Romero was the first to really
but Night of the Living Dead is the first one who made it like reanimated corpses coming to eat you. Yeah. Which has then really been the foundation of zombie movies with variants like 28 Days Later, which it becomes more of infected, which I don't know if some people don't consider those to be zombies. We can talk about that. But the George A. Romero, I mean, he's the godfather of them. He obviously made Night of the Living Dead, which is like a really good movie if you're into just like the history of movies and subgenres and technical movie stuff like we are. Just listening to like podcasts about that movie in particular is really interesting. How a lot of the guys, I think like the police officers or sheriff's officers or whatever, sheriff's deputies, or just like real sheriff's guys. There's like locals in some town in Pennsylvania. The most of the actors I don't think are like professional actors. I'm not sure if I'm positive about that. The main actor who stands out because the movie is in the 60s and it's he's the only black guy in the movie. He's the only black person in the movie. He's like a like a New York City theater trained actor, and he like really stands out with like the way he enunciates.
Yeah.
And like there's this good song. It's weird. You ever heard the band called The Ruined? I think it's them, The Ruined, like a British kind of horror punk band.
I don't think so.
I like them a lot, but it's like the song is called, like it has a clip, like a, what's it called? Like a sample from the beginning of that movie where it's like the one guy yelling at, well, basically they're arguing, should we go in the basement or stay up here and fight?
Yeah.
And it like starts with that argument in the beginning. You just hear him. It's like, if you want to go down there, like I forget exactly what he says. Like, I'm not going to be the one to follow you. And he's like very kind of like proper and Shakespearean. And I think his name's Ben in the movie, actually.
I think so.
Yeah, he's total badass.
Yeah.
I not just to focus on this movie, but the ending is, I think, a lot of social commentary where, spoiler alert, I mean, the movie's been out for like 60 years. He basically survives this nightmare of fending off a ravenous horde of zombies. And then the police just shoot him at the end, thinking he's a zombie.
Right.
Which is like kind of, I mean, it's 1968. So very interesting.
Yeah, well, you know what's funny is, and I'm sure we've talked about this before, but so many people since then have commented on what they thought were like the sort of racial politics aspect of it, and that George, that the young filmmakers were sort of making like a progressive statement, but they were just like, no, he was a friend of ours and he was the best actor that we knew, so we gave him the lead role.
Oh yeah, totally. I don't know, maybe it's like one of those things that it's just interesting, and then the actor happens to be black, and then you can kind of graft that message onto it, or after they casted him, then they decided to write that scene. I don't know,
and I'm sure that there was at least some talk about like the messaging in the film. George Romero did say that when they were filming that, the cast and crew, they were just they were staying in a barn like on or near the property. And he goes, but we're all like in our 20s and 30s, and so like this is like right around the time of like the hippie movement and everything, and Vietnam. So like we would stay up late and we're just talking about all this stuff. And he said something interesting. He said, he goes, I kind of imagined zombies being a metaphor for like like the old generation being eaten by the new generation. He didn't really elaborate. I don't know if he meant like youth culture taking over the sort of old conservative culture, or if it was just sort of like it was just a general metaphor for like the radical change that was going on in the US at the time. But I mean, I think a bunch of young creative people filming something together, and the Vietnam War is taking place, so it's like, I'm sure these guys are talking politics and culture and all that stuff.
I mean, I think that sometimes that's what's fun about movies, is just kind of like, what do you get from it? Like people, that's why there are classes at liberal arts college that are like I remember we watched there's a whole class at my school called like Jesus in Film. Like there's just a class devoted to Jesus appear, like all the ways that they portray Jesus in movies, right. Or like the feminist lens or the gay lens or whatever that is. But really good movie. It's one of those movies where like there's not all that much like actual eating of people, like not that you see. I think that's just a budgetary thing. Well, there was that one scene though where the couple they get blown up in that truck, and then like the zombies line up like they're like they're in the cafeteria and then they're eating guts. There's that one, and then like one in the house, I think pretty early to kind of like set the tone. But it's not like my favorite zombie movie, Dawn of the Dead, 2004. That movie probably had one of the biggest impacts on me. I was 14, 2004, so I was 14, depending when it came out, 13 and 14, and that like was just peak zombie, like isolated location. That's kind of key in most zombie movies. Like rarely are you moving around that much. I'm sure there are exceptions, but usually it's like it's honestly Nazi zombies from the video game, like just holding down the fort, fighting them off until help comes. And that's a mall in like Wisconsin. So again, if you're kind of putting your own like you're kind of putting your own view on it, it's like, what's more American than a mall in 2004? This is middle America. You have this cast of people. Like you always have the different, like that's always fun too in the zombie movies, like the cast of characters.
Yeah,
it's usually a diverse cast. There's like the redneck, there's the biracial couple, there's like the badass woman, there's the dick guy, which is so funny that the asshole in that movie is Ty Burrell, who's like the goofy dad in Modern Family, like the sweet. He has one of the best lines of that movie where he's like, "Let's draw straws, and whoever loses has to run across the parking lot with a ham sandwich." And so it's very funny seeing him be like a total like douchebag, like businessman douchebag. But anyway, I forgot how I got on that movie because that's just my favorite. Like we're going to like favorite zombie movies. I don't know if yours is Night of the Living Dead. Mine's that Dawn of the Dead.
Ooh, good question. The original Night of the Living Dead will always hold a special place in my heart. But I don't know if it's necessarily my favorite zombie movie. Maybe The Serpent in the Rainbow.
Okay, I don't know that one.
That's Wes Craven film that he directed in the late 80s with Bill Pullman.
Okay.
That's a really good one.
What's
and that one? Yeah, that one deals more with the voodoo zombies.
Oh, so it's kind of like old school.
Yeah, which is cool because there are very few movies like other than like White Zombie. like voodoo seems like kind of like this weird thing. It seems like it's rarely ever taken seriously in horror movies. It's usually just kind of like done like, oh, I got a doll and I'm gonna do that, the whole thing. But like this movie takes it really seriously and it's done incredibly well. So it was actually kind of somewhat based on a true story. It was based on a book by Wade Davis, I think his name was. He was an ethnobotanist, and so he was going around the world and he's studying plants and stuff. And so he goes to Haiti, and because he believes that zombies are not real in voodoo rituals, and that it's really just a combination of like poison and herbs and like these incredibly rare, hard to get things that just kind of basically just wipes your mind and makes you very impressionable. So you basically become kind of like a mindless zombie.
Gotcha.
So he wrote a book about that experience, and of course Hollywood got its hands on it and then turned it into a horror movie. But it's actually like a really damn good horror movie. So Bill Pullman plays this guy who's being sent by a pharmaceutical company to go investigate this, and like, if there's a way where we can put people under that's much safer than anesthetics, because like however many thousands of people die per year from too much anesthesia or allergic reaction. But if there's a way that you can find a drug that can simulate death without killing somebody and to do it in a way that won't kill them. So he's there just pretty scientific things, but he of course he falls into this like voodoo cult. It's interesting. There's also like a strong political element in the film because the backdrop of the movie is like this like a revolution that's going on in Haiti. Like there's like this whole like they're trying to overthrow the president or something, but then he's got connections to the voodoo underworld. It's a really weird, wild movie, but it's cool. I recommend it.
Was it like 80s, 90s?
Yeah, it's 88, I think. 88 or 87.
That sounds good. That sounds sweet.
Yeah.
Okay. So why I've heard that why zombies are so popular is they really play off one of our most base instincts, and that's like the kind of the desire to kill, and how like at our most core we're just like animals. We're just apes who if needed to protect ourselves, to protect a loved one, to protect the tribe, like we would kill each other. And zombies kind of give you a pass to kill another human because they were human, right? Depending on what you define as human, just like what do you find as life, right? Heartbeat, brain, all that shit. Terry Schiavo. And but they give you like a guilt-free pass to shoot someone in the head.
Yeah.
And not only like you have to shoot them in the head to kill them. Like that's always the thing, you have to scramble the brains, like whatever it is. So I've heard that's why they're so popular.
Interesting. Yeah, I buy that.
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, that definitely tracks.
Because I think there's something kind of cathartic about watching zombie movies, where it's like just seeing people getting slaughtered, but it's not quite as gross because but they were going to eat the innocent people anyway, so it's okay to chop them up. So
sure, it's one of those things where a lot of times in horror, like think about a lot of horror. it doesn't mean like the monster, the killer, they don't always get away. Like sometimes they die. Usually it takes a while. Yeah. Sometimes they die and come back, right? Like Michael Myers, Jason. Like, are they really dead? They've usually done a ton of killing before. Rarely in zombie movies is it like one zombie terrorizing a group of people. Usually dozens, hundreds, thousands are getting killed before they take over, if they even take over at all. Yeah. So it's like the opposite of most horror, where like the monster does all of the terrorizing, the vampire, the werewolf, whatever it is. Here it's like you do get that, like you said, cathartic experience of like watching heads explode and limbs blow off and all of that. It's like, oh, the humans are actually like winning. I also think the whole element of it, I always find it touching when it's like, oh fuck, the guy you love lifts up his sleeve and there's a bite mark, and it's like, oh, they have to make those decisions like that. I think that's just really cool. Like that plays a lot on morality. It plays on like, well, do you let him turn? What do you do? What does he do or she do? Like usually there's always that heroic moment, like they take a grenade and run into the pile or whatever it is. Or I think that's another reason why the same concept is in other movies like Starship Troopers. I love, I've talked about a bunch where like they're just killing tons of bugs in that. It's, I don't know, it's fun to watch. It's sick, but it's fun.
Do you know why Italians used to be like really obsessed with like zombie and cannibal movies in the late 70s and early 80s? Do you know? Do you know enough about your cultural heritage?
No, our secret Italian meetings, we haven't touched that. We talk about pasta types.
Oh, nice.
We just argue about fusilli, penne, gavadils.
Oh, so that's what really goes on behind?
Yeah, it's we just all shout pastas at each other.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't. I think it's Dario Argento. Did he make zombie ones? No, I don't know like a cultural reason why. Just because they're perverts. Like, is that?
I mean, I honestly don't know. Because I know that there was something similar in the 60s where like Westerns became really popular in Italy, and then that's what led to like the Man with No Name trilogy with Clint Eastwood. I wonder if it was kind of a similar thing, because I know after George A. Romero's original Dawn of the Dead came out in 78, I think it was a huge hit in Italy. I think it might have just been one of those things where it's like, oh, like zombies and cannibals, like that's what's in right now.
We like to eat.
I guess that's the common denominator there. Right?
So like even when you're brain dead, you're still stumbling around looking for a meal.
Yeah. All right.
That might be it.
No. There were some fun ones that came out of Italy. There was one called Zombie or Zombie 2, depending on which region you're from. Because when Dawn of the Dead was released in Italy, it was called it was renamed Zombie. Okay. So they made a sequel to it, but it was like an unofficial. It had nothing to do with it. It just had the same name. It just had to do with zombies, but it was called Zombie 2.
Gotcha.
And that it wasn't like objectively, it was not a very good movie, but it was very gory, like over the top gory. And there's one famous scene of a zombie biting a shark, like he's actually like being like he's underwater, like they got a real shark and they got an actor to dress up as a zombie.
They did a real shark?
He's fighting a real shark. It's nuts.
How's a shark not kill him?
I don't know if it was like trained or something.
That's wild. Did an Italian director do Cannibal Holocaust?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That you're right. What are they obsessed with?
Yeah, there were a bunch of
cannibals. Well, that's not really zombie. That was just cannibals. That was like indigenous.
But it's similar. People eating people.
Yeah, totally.
But one thing that I know a lot of those Italian zombie and cannibal movies were known for is like almost all of them had like one or two famous, like infamous scenes where it's like the sort of thing like if you were a teenager in the 80s, like, oh, like my brother, he showed me this when my parents were out of town, and dude, like that scene where that chick gets her nipple bitten off by a zombie. It's just like there's always like like that sort of infamous scene. So,
well, I don't know. I know we learned about like film giallos in Italian class. Those weren't zombies. Those were more like true crime type movies that they could also be over the top. I'd like to kind of dive into those too, but I don't know.
Those would be fun.
Italian's just perfect, so that's probably all.
I mean, there's a lot of sex. There's a lot of eroticism in Italian horror movies. But yeah, that's cool though.
Yeah. I can't. Was it Zombie like ZOMBI?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've heard of that. I haven't seen it. If we're talking foreign zombie movies, I'm actually watching one now. As I started last night, it's Korean. It's more like zombie comedy, horror comedy. It's good. It's called Zombie for Sale. It's definitely interesting. It's very funny. Unless it takes a real turn, I think it's gonna be a very good movie. Where there's a zombie who like escapes from some lab or something.
Yeah,
and he's kind of the typical zombie, like mindless, running around, has a little cognizance in terms of like he runs away from the dog when the dog chases him. But it's funny because he bites the dad of the family. It almost has like Parasite vibes where it's like all around one family and they're all kind of like scheming. And it actually came out the same year as Parasite. And the zombie, so they all think like, oh my god, they're gonna turn, like one of the sons starts beating the shit out of the dad because he's gonna turn. And then actually what happens is the dad becomes younger and more youthful and like vibrant. And so the whole town, it's like this little podunk town in Korea. So, and like people from all over start coming to get bit by the zombie to turn them younger. I haven't looked this up. What I think is going to happen is eventually they're all going to turn to zombies and there's going to be like a huge zombie apocalypse thing going on. I don't know. That's just what I think it's going. But right now it's like they're making money off of their zombie that they have like chained up in the garage. They like put an arm in and it bites them and then they pull it out and they get younger. It's very funny though. It's a very funny movie. That's more comedy. Sticking with Korea, Train to Busan was very famous. Have you not seen that one?
I have not. I've seen it recommended a lot though.
Yeah, that one's good. I don't think the second one's been on my list for like a year, like 2-3 years. I never see it free and I haven't gotten to it. But Train to Busan was good. It's like obviously a train to Busan, which is like a city in on the southern coast of Korea. So I'm assuming it's going from Seoul to Busan. I haven't seen it in a while. But that's a good one. So like everyone on the train starts turning and they're kind of fighting them off and at different stops and things like that. I guess like this town will be infected. So it's like fight them off before they get on. And then one of my favorite horror movies, period, that I really love that we've definitely already talked about because it's part zombie, part exorcism. Yeah, I guess that'd be a part zombie, part exorcism, and then part like found footage. It's called Rec, Spanish movie, which I brought up a bunch. REC, as in like recording on a movie camera. It's shot really well. It's definitely more of a zombie movie though, and it's all same thing, isolated location in Barcelona. So and the American movie Quarantine is based off of this. Trust me, I don't mean to be that guy, but the foreign one is much better. Sometimes it's not, but in this one it definitely is. Quarantine was meh. The Rec is awesome. And they like the government, like military, like shuts down this building. Like if you open that, you get shot like sniper. So they really have to like defend for themselves. And these zombies are more of the 28 Days Later type. Which would you say that 28 Days Later kind of created the fast zombie?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that I've seen a previous horror movie that had like fast zombies and then like a filmmaker was like, oh look, we got a fast zombie in ours. But it was probably like some like low budget movie from the 80s or something. I think in terms of like popularizing it, 28 Days Later, like that's the main one.
So first of all, 20 Days Later is a lot older than I always. 20 Days, it's sort of like 2001.
Yeah.
Like that's much older than I always think. Like that came out when I was 11. Right? Am I right? Was it 2001? Yeah. So when that came out, that was marketed, and I think rightfully so, as like one of the scariest movies ever. Not that I find it to be the scariest movie ever now, but for the time about what was out there, that felt very revolutionary in the zombie genre, because I think like some of the zombies are kind of fast in Dawn of the Dead when like they spot you. Like, they kind of meander, and then when they spot you, they get fast. But in 20 Days Later, they're like just fast all the time. There's not really any of that like traipsing, plotting zombie. Where I think the argument is like they're not even really a zombie. They're more like just a infected like rage virus type thing.
Right.
But that movie also low budget for what like a movie with that caliber. Like that's not a. I remember watching a video on it. It's like they would pay the extras in like tea, like you get a free cup of tea.
Yeah.
For like all those bodies in that church, which is such a stunning scene. Remember when he finds all the bodies in that church? Like, those are all people. Like those are all extras.
Yeah.
So that was very cool. But I forgot how I got on 28 Days Later. Just kind of the different types of zombies.
Yeah.
And that one really changed the game. And I think maybe it's been overdone now. But that was definitely that was a big moment for the zombie genre.
What was cool about that one? What was I thought that the low budget look, because it was shot like on digital camcorder or something from the early
super
2000s.
grainy.
It was a pretty like realistic depiction of like what that would look like in and like the way they shot it and just like shooting. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, and like it was super guerrilla style, and so like they shot on that bridge, which I guess is like a heavily trafficked bridge or famous bridge or something,
like 3 a.m, right? Or like
exactly. And like they could only close it down. They could only afford to close it down for like 30 minutes. So it's like they had to get like the crew to like, okay, like scatter garbage around to make it look desolate. We got half an hour to shoot.
That was so goddamn cool. Like I love that. Looking back, how they took a city like London and made like it's easier to do that with like a small town. I think that's why a lot of like Night of the Living Dead takes place in a small town. They have a town in Pennsylvania, like a house in Pennsylvania. Which understandable. Like you said, there's a bunch of 20 and 30-year-olds. I remember going back to that real quick. It was like people would go to their day job, like work or something, and then like go shoot this movie that turned out to be the foundation of one of the most popular horror subgenres of all time. Very cool. But how they did that in 28 Days Later was unbelievable and is timeless. Like that looks amazing. One thing about when you're talking about the way the look, the final scene doesn't look like that.
Right.
And I learned that that's because they actually ran out of money. The final scene was going to be the car crashing and then kind of like going forward, and then it just cuts, right? And they're like, we're out of money. Like, we need more money to finish this movie. They got more, and to kind of show the different, like that this cast of people are okay, like they're gonna be okay. They did change the way it looks, and that's why it's a lot brighter, more vibrant in that final scene with the two, those like 3 people. By the way, speaking of 28 weeks later,
haven't seen that one.
Absurd premise. Where it's like not that much later, and they're like, okay, you can go home now. Well, like this is the worst thing to ever happen in humanity. The worst things like the Black Plague of like unexplainable events that could just completely ruin the world. But you can go live in that part of London now. Insane. I guess you don't know what I'm talking about, but basically the British and America, I think, like, of course, we're there because that's what we do as Americans. And so like our military's there, and I think the British military, and they like quarantined London or part of London or whatever it is, and they just let people go back to their homes. And it's like, of course, it doesn't go well,
right?
Like, or else it wouldn't have been much of a movie. But it's insane that actually happens, where it's like people still can't go to Chernobyl. And like, because of what's there. Like, imagine that this virus that can spread this quickly. It's like, but real estate, like landlords gotta make their rent because their investment's not going over very well. Because Zone 3 was under a zombie apocalypse.
If Chernobyl happened in the U.S., we would be moving back in. We would be like,
it'd be low income housing.
Exactly.
Yes, it would be where we would put migrants. It would be like hippies and like new immigrants. Those would be
one of my favorite zombie movies is Herbert West Reanimator, which is based on the Lovecraft story.
Okay, I don't know.
Have you seen that one?
No.
Oh, it's good, dude. It's came out in 1985.
Give it to me.
Stuart Gordon directed it and co-wrote it. It stars Jeffrey Combs as Herbert West, who is a medical student who has been specializing in bringing people back from the dead. But what's interesting is that's what science should be used for. But what's interesting is that like he, it's ultimately kind of for a good purpose. He is just sort of like I wouldn't say it's for a good purpose because.
Yeah,
I mean, here's like there's no like mad science. Like he's not doing it to like raise the to like have an army and then take over the world or something.
Brought people back from the dead. Jesus,
I know. That's right. Yeah. But he dupes. He moves in with this other medical student, and he basically kind of tricks him into like reanimating corpses together. And it's interesting because Herbert West,
classic buddy comedy.
I know. It's like, oh, it happens to me. That's how
again. You got me again. Oh,
just
you.
Like the last roommate. But for Herbert West though, it's more just like this obsession with just like being the best. Like he wants to win the Pulitzer Prize and just like it's just for science. It's like I want to prove that this can be done. But and so the actual short story that it was based on by Lovecraft is actually kind of darkly comedic because like they're so these are not flesh eating zombies. They reanimate these corpses and then they just go nuts and they have to put them down again. But there are a few times, and they even did this in the movie, but where it's like the butt of the joke was like after they killed a zombie that went nuts that they reanimated and they're like then like the punchline was basically, well, the corpse just wasn't fresh enough. And so like that was so they actually they kind of have fun with that. So it's kind of a horror comedy. It's very darkly comedic, but what I love about it is that it's played completely straight. It's not like a slapstick
right
movie. It the actors are actually pretty decent. Like these are not just dumb like
When's this movie from?
85.
Okay.
From America.
Does the zombie like try to eat people, like that kind of zombie?
No, it's more just it gets into a murderous rampage.
It's definitely murderous.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. I was like, is this kind of annoying?
I know, yeah.
Yeah, we got Kelly. He's just fucking asking too many questions.
But it's got some really cool over the top gore scenes that I highly recommend. So yeah, the first one's really good. The second one's okay. Then the third one was
3 of these movies.
They made 3 of them. Yeah.
No. Unfortunately, at the end, Lovecraft started saying stuff about the Jews. Like they cut that part. Where all of a sudden the doctors just feel really anti-Semitic.
Lovecraft was actually married to a Jewish woman.
Are you serious?
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. So he was anti-Semitic for sure. Here's the thing, he and I'm dead serious. So the reason why he made an exception for this girl was a pussy.
Yeah, she put out.
No, it was actually he believed that she was she acted non-Jewish enough. It was like, okay, well, you got all that Jewish stuff out of you, so I guess I can marry you.
All right. I'm not gonna touch that one tonight. Yeah. Whatever you meant by that. Lovecraft. A man of contradictions.
Yeah, he had great social and political views. It's just, but his writing was just
writing was lacking. Nothing was imaginative. I really understood the social order.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, like nobody knew skull size is better than him.
God damn.
Oh man. But Reanimator. That's a highly recommended one.
All right. So. Okay.
Oh, and another one. Have you ever seen Dead Alive by Peter Jackson?
Maybe.
He directed this. He co-wrote and directed this. It was in 1993, I think. It's at the time it was one of like the goriest movies ever made. But like it's very slapstick. It's very cartoony.
Okay.
So it's more along the lines of like Evil Dead type of gore.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is that it actually predates like you see his love for King Kong in this movie because so the premise of the movie is that there's like this hard to find rat monkey on Skull Island. That's what actually it's called in the movie. And so some scientist goes to get this monkey, and he brings it to New Zealand, and it gets out of its cage, and then it bites somebody, and then they become infected, and then
they
they
always
start
do.
But there's
there's a fucking monkey.
I know it's always a rat monkey from Skull Island.
Monkeys suck. I don't like monkeys. I don't know if I've said on this podcast. I can't stand monkeys.
Really? What about like gorillas? Though you like gorillas though?
Gorillas are cool. Gorillas are sweet.
Yeah.
Chimps are like the most horrific creatures on the planet.
Not if you grow them like
No, dude. No, they could be your best friend for 20 years, and then they like rip your fingers off and pull off and like rip your nose off, pull your dick off. Like they know. You never heard Rogan talk about monkeys?
I've heard it, but I thought that was just like
No, it's like way more common.
Oh shit!
But I think apes raped Jane Goodall.
Oh,
like yeah, and she was like embedded in them, and she had to let them rape her, or else they would murder her.
Jesus Christ!
This is Jane Goodall. She's a saint.
Yeah, I know. That's crazy. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, chimps are disgusting creatures, and never go near them ever, because they I guess some dogs would be pretty terrible too. But like if a dog freaks out or like another animal, there are like ways to get away. Like chimps are just ungodly strong, horrific creatures. They know what you need. Yeah. That's why they like break your fingers and rip off your dick and your eyes and stuff like that. There's like terrible creatures.
Well, all those adorable videos of like a chimp is seeing his owners again, and then he hugs and it's like, oh, he's like a hairy little human. That's sweet. They always cut off the part where he starts ripping limbs off.
Yeah, rips his throat out. It's gross. You didn't see what was that movie that just came out? Oh my god, Jordan Peele's new movie.
Nope. Oh yeah.
Nope.
Remember? I haven't seen it. I know about it.
So you.
I know the beginning. I know there's a monkey that goes nuts on it.
A chimp who's like it's like a sitcom with the chimp, and it kills everyone on the set except for like one little boy. Yeah.
Cool.
That's a real story.
So it's a killer monkey movie then, huh?
Kind of. It's like background. It's like context.
But anyway, so I guess I will give you another reason to not like monkeys. This monkey, when it bites you, I guess turn to a zombie. So
that's how 28 Days Later starts. Also,
that's right, huh? Yeah.
It's a bunch of dumbass animal rights activists who are trying to get out. And I'm very sympathetic to a lot of animal rights stuff, but they always go too far.
Yeah,
and they try to release a bunch of chimps in captivity.
That's right.
They're
right about that.
I mean, I think the real issue more is that I think they're like being tested on maybe, and that's probably the real problem. But still, they didn't help.
Yeah. But Dead Alive, the Peter Jackson movie, has this scene where the main character, his home has been invaded by a horde of zombies, and he gets a lawnmower. And he actually just like mows through them, and it's just blood and like limbs just flying everywhere. It's so funny. It's
like
so
a push mower.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
Yeah, it's awesome. And so at the time, it was notorious for being one of like the bloodiest movies ever made. And so
Peter Jackson, like the guy who did Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, before he became like like an established like mainstream Oscar-winning director, he made some crazy movies.
Okay.
So this is the one. I think this is the last one that he did, like the crazy, like like schlocky, over the top, gore stuff, and then he started doing more established stuff. But Stuart Gordon, who directed Reanimator, told the story about how he back like in the 90s, around the time that movie came out, he ran into Peter Jackson at a horror movie convention, and so he heard that his movie was super gory, but he didn't think it was as gory as Reanimator. So he went up to him and they start chatting and stuff, and then he goes, "Hey, so for Reanimator, we use 30 gallons of fake blood." And then Peter Jackson looked at him and said, "We use 300 for one scene."
Wow. Was it the lawnmower scene?
This lawnmower scene, yeah.
Yeah, dude. That's sweet. Chainsaw is always great.
Oh yeah.
Even though it's like not a practical weapon, like it can get caught way too easily. It runs out of power like pretty quickly, but it's just so sweet.
Hell yeah, dude.
Like, I love I love that they brought back the chainsaw, and actually I don't know if they brought it back. I don't know if it's been a concept, but in Evil Dead. Wait, what was the one that just came out? Evil Dead Rise? Yeah, with that it was pretty good, and they bring back the chainsaw in a really sweet way.
Awesome.
And that's always because I guess Evil Dead movies also kind of bend the line between zombie and like possessed.
Yeah,
because it's a spirit. Like that's what makes it. exorcism. It's like possessed. It's a spirit.
Yeah.
But I don't remember. In Evil Dead movies, if you get bit, do you turn? Or does the spirit just kind of like shoot around and possess you? I forget. I don't know if it's the clearest science. And I do want to talk about that in a sec too. But I don't know. The Evil Dead movies are just great. So we can talk. Like they're great. They're funny and gory, and some of the best one-liners and just some of the best lines. Like even in Army of Darkness, which I don't really like very much, I think it went too goofy. A line at the end where he's like, I am the king. Hail to the king, baby. It's like so good. I want to get a poster. There is one I'm probably gonna buy with Ash with like a chainsaw in the air, and it's like hail to the king, baby.
Yeah.
It's a great one.
Hell yeah.
The groovy line. I literally have a patch on this jacket with just on the back that's it, which Ash just says groovy. Like that's it. I have it. That's on the good things list of the. I think it's the single best single line. In cinema.
Yeah.
If you think of any better ones, let me know. But that to me is the best one word line in any movie.
I can't think of any other. So yeah, I'm gonna agree with that.
Don't come with me with your like inconceivable. Like shut up.
No. Hell no.
Yeah. So anyway, I want to talk more zombies, as in like zombies themselves.
Yeah.
One thing that's very important to me in zombie movies. Two things I cannot stand.
Yes.
I don't like smart zombies.
Yeah.
I don't like what came out 2 years ago in Vegas. It takes place in Vegas.
Zack Snyder Netflix one.
Yeah, with what's his name, Dave Bautista.
Yeah.
Which has one of the most obnoxious characters ever, which is his daughter in that movie, who's just like one of those super dumb characters that should just be like zip tied and like thrown in the back of a van because she just fucks everything up.
Yeah.
And is just like this dumb activist girl who like has to run in for some stupid reason and then ruin the whole plan. But that movie, the zombies are like, they have like a social order. They have like a leader, and they ride a horse, and they have weapons. Like I don't want that shit.
Yeah.
Like, I'm cool with as dumb as they are in like Shaun of the Dead, which are kind of like the dumbest zombies. So like as fast and smart and like they're monomaniacal, like they just want to get to you. And that means they can climb shit, they can break down shit. Like they, as in like 28 Days Later, like I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that variance. But I don't like when they're smart. I don't like when they can use weapons or like gather, where they should be dumb and just be like a literal horde.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, is another good porn. Have you ever seen The Horde?
No, I haven't.
It's a French. It's literally called La Horde, like the Horde. It's good. I actually have it on my list. I watched it in college. I haven't seen it since. A few scenes stick out to me. There's this Nigerian character who's just like mowing down zombies with, I think, like Uzis or an AK-47 or something. He's just like, I am Nigerian, motherfucker, in French, of course, but he's just like shooting them. And then there's the final scene's really good, where he's like, hear a roar, and the girl like looks over her shoulder. But in that movie, they break the thing because like they're pretty typical zombies, but then all of a sudden you have this one zombie who's like dragging a guy by the ankle. It's like, no, he should be down there eating him. Like the zombies don't take the food to the dining room table. Like they don't do. They
don't want the food to go. They want it here. They're gonna eat it during dine in.
Yes, they eat where they find it. So that always annoyed me. But yeah, those are my biggest like. So that and consistency. Like what I can't stand. People always say this in any sort of movie. Like we talk about it all the time with like race and stuff in movies. Like why does it matter what race they are? They're elves. Like it's like but in the story, in the whatever it comes from, like there are races. Like Game of Thrones, they have races.
Right.
They have like, just because it's not Earth and humanity, like they have races. So when you make one just randomly Chinese, it doesn't make sense. Like it's within. It's the same thing within the confines of the story. We have a bunch of zombies who are mindlessly like waddling down the street, and then one starts reciting Hamlet. It doesn't matter. The zombies aren't real. That doesn't make sense within the confines of the story.
Right.
So that's another thing too, is like when there are some zombies act differently. Like, no, they should all be the same.
Yeah. Ben doesn't like black zombies. You heard it here from us now. No, I another argument I think against smart zombies is that it just kind of defeats the purpose. And it's like, okay, it's
totally.
I don't know, like to me, like zombies should be mindless. Like they should be like very single-minded. Just hunt, eat,
yes,
kill.
That's what makes them fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
yeah.
And they're much more fun when they travel in packs. But
there's this great book. I know we're talking movies here. There's a great book called The Rotten Ruin, or just Rotten Ruin. It's a zombie book.
Huh.
And I like it because it's kind of so scientific with the zombies in the sense of like how they act. Scientific, I mean that like soft S or lowercase s, I should say.
Yeah.
Like if a zombie is going downhill, like it'll literally just keep going downhill until it can't anymore, right? Like they don't go up, or unless they see prey. Right. So like if a zombie's chasing a rabbit that's going downhill, they will just keep going because that's the last thing it saw until it sees new prey that might be uphill, and then it will try and go uphill, which will be more difficult for it. Same in like World War Z, not a good movie, but a great book. I've actually probably read that book like 3 times.
I heard the book was amazing. And
the book is amazing. The movie sucked. The book is sweet because it's all, I mean, it's literally the subtitles like Recollections of the Zombie War or something. So it's all like, have you ever read The Good War?
I don't think so. No,
I read that last year or earlier this year. It's basically like recollections of World War II. So you have all different types of people. You have people who were political prisoners, people who were soldiers, people who were working in the factory, people who were in like a concentration camp, like all types of people. Like,
that's fine, but is it diverse though? Like, are there diverse recollections?
No, it's all about World War II. Yes, there are actually tons of diverse recollections. But so that's what World War Z is based off of. That's actually why
interesting.
I read that book, is because I read World War Z like a decade ago, and I looked it up, and that's what not Mel Brooks is his son, Max Brooks. I think it's his son, but that's what he based it off of. But instead of World War II, the zombie war. So it's like a soldier fighting in the Battle of Yonkers. A girl like someone at Patient Zero, which I think started in like China or something, like all over. Businessman in Cuba, like islands do well during a zombie apocalypse if you keep them zombie free because they're an island. And that one too, it's like the zombies are on the bottom of the ocean because they don't drown, and they just keep walking. And so like even still at the end of the war, they're still popping up here and there. So I thought that was like, and that's what's fun about books. They can kind of get more detailed than that. Going back to Rotten Ruin this week, because there's a guy who it feels like they copied it, or it was copied for Walking Dead. I don't know what came first, but a guy who just uses a katana to cut off zombie heads, which is very sweet. Yeah. And he kind of gets paid to like go find your loved one who's a zombie and kind of like put out of its misery. Yeah. So it's kind of like a contract killer type thing, which is very sweet. Again, I haven't read that book in like a decade, so I might be messing some things up. But I do. It definitely had if you like zombie stuff, zombie content culture, check it out.
Did you ever watch the Return of the Living Dead movies, which were sort of semi-sequels to George Romero's?
I mean, I've seen a lot of different, like I get a lot of them confused. Yeah. Because they all kind of like similar titles. Yeah. So I can't remember off the top of my head.
So 1985's Return of the Living Dead, it was written, or I think it was written and produced by a guy who co-wrote the original Night of the Living Dead. And so it's kind of like this weird unofficial sequel to it in a weird way. And so, but George Romero had nothing to do with it. But that's why it has The Living Dead in the title. And so it's funny because they even reference the movie in the movie. Like they say, hey, did you ever see that movie, Night of the Living Dead? And they're like, yeah. So and he goes, it's actually based on a true story. And like, shut up. And so what it was, these two guys, they worked like in a warehouse, and he goes, yeah, downstairs, like but that's where they have like the leftover zombies from that whole incident back in '68. And so like it's like these containers filled with these zombie things, and of course they knock it over, and then when the zombie gets out, and
what the fuck.
Don't touch the zombie container. I keep telling you,
you idiot. So I don't bite you anywhere.
And then it releases this gas into the air, and there's a cemetery right next door. And so this gas gets into the clouds, and then it rains on the cemetery, and then all
hells yeah, rules.
It's a
zombie rain.
Well, like what's cool about the movie, why you might like it, is because like there's a lot of like hard rock and punk rock on the soundtrack.
Yeah,
because there's it's Return of the Living Dead.
Return of the Living Dead. Okay, I'm gonna write it down. So it sounds sweet.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's really hokey.
Yeah, it's hokey.
It's not very tongue in cheek. It is played for laughs.
Return.
Return of the Living Dead, 1985.
I think I've seen Land of the Dead.
George Romero. That's official sequel.
Okay.
But Return of the Living Dead is cool because there's a group of like punk rockers, and they're like, oh, we're gonna go meet up with their buddy at the warehouse, but he's still working, so let's go hang out in the cemetery. And then that's when they get caught up in zombie horde. But there's this one funny part that I love where a bunch of paramedics show up, and then the zombies swarm them and eat them. And then like they're like the ambulance, like they're getting a call, and so like, hey, can you tell us the status? Hello, can you tell us the status? And the zombie goes up, and he pulls up the walkie-talkie and he goes, send more paramedics.
Wait, a zombie says that?
Zombie said,
God damn it.
There's only one. I know that there's one smart zombie in the thing.
I know they broke their rule, but it still sounds sweet.
Yeah, it is a comical movie. And then they did Return of the Living Dead 2, which is not as good. It was just very watered down. But Return of the Living Dead 3 is pretty killer though.
Yeah.
That was a pretty heavy metal one because it the main character, his dad works at a military facility, and they're working on those same zombies from the original one. And what they want to
knock
do,
it over again.
Exactly. Well, they have an even crazier plan. They want to put on these metal exoskeleton suits on the zombies and then send them off to war, so that way you don't have to kill innocent. So they don't have to like have a need for like a military. It's just zombies that they keep in storage.
Love it. Sure.
It's so nuts. It's so
armed zombies is the most American thing.
I know, yeah. There's it's not related to this, but it was a meme of RoboCop, and like this guy died, and they still sent him to work.
Yeah, wait, RoboCop kind of is a zombie.
Kind of, yeah. They did resurrect him. He got his head blown up and everything. So yeah, he's yeah.
I
guess it is kind
still sending him to work.
But Return of the Living Dead 3 is cool though, because the son of the military guy, he's like this heavy metal teenage guy, and then like him and his girlfriend, they sneak into this military complex, and then she gets bitten by one of the zombies, and she's gradually turning into, so it's actually kind of like almost like a gothic romance in a way, because she's slowly turning into a zombie, and he goes on the run with her, and so he's trying to like take care of her, but she's slowly losing her mind, and she's slowly developing an urge to eat people. So it's actually a little bit tragic in a way. Like it sounds really goofy, but it's actually like you care about the characters. It's pretty interesting.
That's 3.
Yeah, part 3. That one came in the early 90s, I think.
Sorry, my clock was going off.
Yeah. The worst possible time. When I'm talking about the most sensitive of all the zombie movies.
Yeah.
But it does have a lot of really cool over the top gore. There's one scene when this one dude, he gets his head ripped off, but like his spinal cord is still attached, so like it's still connected to his body, so it's like he just has like a really long neck basically. So it's pretty cool.
I don't know, I don't love when zombies are really strong though.
Yeah, no,
like I guess if they're so rabid that they can like obviously bite you, but like people bite each other to make them bleed. Like that's not like
the strength of the zombies in numbers.
Sometimes it feels like it's a little too easy for them to rip people open.
Yeah.
Like I think if you want to make it really realistic, like it would be really hard to like tear through someone's,
skin and their muscles.
Yeah.
They make it seem like you're just like, oh, you got your intestine.
Yeah. They make it seem like it's like tissue paper or just.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Fido?
Is that the one that took place in the 50s? I think, or 60s or something.
Like
Carrie-Anne Moss.
It's like a
zombie or something.
Yeah. Isn't that? I haven't seen that in a very long time, but I feel like that was an early comedy one.
Yeah.
Right.
I thought it was all right. I think my favorite zombie comedy will always be Shaun of the Dead, though.
It's so good.
I love that one.
It's so funny. I love so much when they're in the pub and Queen is playing and they're like hitting the zombie to the beat of
Don't Stop Me Now.
Don't Stop Me Now.
That was a great one.
That one's so good. I'm actually surprised they didn't make a second. I thought they would have made a second one of those.
Yeah, but I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad that they went with a thematic trilogy instead of like an actual official trilogy.
Yeah. World's End and Run Fat Boy Run.
No, it was the police one, Hot Fuzz.
Oh yeah, Hot Fuzz. Oh yeah, it's the ice cream.
Yep,
Cornetto.
The
Cornetto
trilogy. Yeah.
I don't get how are those movies related at all?
I think it's just like a running joke, which is that they always manage to sneak that ice cream into the film, but also like the flavor of the ice cream is kind of related to the theme. So in the first one, they're eating strawberry red blood, and then they're eating blueberry cornetto, and it's blue because of the police. And the third one is they're eating like some I guess lime flavored. It's green, but it has to do with zombies or aliens. So.
Oh, is the World's End about aliens?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen that one. I've seen the other two, Hot Fuzz. And,
oh, okay.
Yeah, Hot Fuzz is good too, but
yeah, I like that one.
Not zombies. So don't talk about it.
Oh yeah.
Stay on theme.
Yeah, like we always do. Yeah, Shaun of the Dead's great though. I love that one.
That's amazing.
What other zombie movies are good ones or bad ones? Do you have any bad zombie movie ideas?
Oh yeah, dude. I stopped watching a zombie movie once because right away I could tell like this movie's gonna stink. That was back when I would actually get Netflix DVDs sent to my dorm.
Oh yeah,
like actual DVDs. I was like like freshman, maybe sophomore year of college. I was still doing that because like streaming, I think it just started. And I remember I kind of liked it. It was fun. It was like getting a letter, you know. It's like, oh, it's fun to actually get a physical thing. But I love that about Jim, how he like loves the VHSs and the DVD players. I mean, I'm that way with books. Like I won't read an ebook. I just never felt that way towards DVDs and VHSs, or Blu-rays. But this movie's called like Zombie Wars, I think. And it was so shitty that I had to turn it off. I was like, there's not a chance I'm sitting through this.
I wonder if that was one of those Asylum mockbusters. Zombie Wars?
Yeah.
2007.
Yeah.
Is it made by? No, okay, no, it was not. It's not.
I think it's just a shitty movie.
Yeah. But you know about Asylum and their mockbuster movies.
Well, what ones are there?
So they did Snakes on a Train.
Okay. What else?
But every time there's a big movie coming out, some big blockbuster movie, they like 3 months before that movie comes out, they start production on their own shitty knockoff.
Wait, before?
Yeah, it's right before. Asylum Productions. I'm gonna pull up real quick just because I'm gonna say the titles and I can see. I'm gonna ask you if you can guess which movie they're mocking.
Oh
yeah. King of the Lost World. So this is actually making fun. It's mocking two. King of the Lost World.
Is it King Kong and Jurassic Park?
Yes. Snakes on a Train. You know that. The Da Vinci Treasure.
Okay.
Halloween Night.
Is that just Halloween?
Yes. Okay. Transmorphers.
How do they do like that movie is so CGI? How do they do like people in cardboard boxes?
It's like the worst like video game CGI, like PlayStation CGI. Like it's really
like that guy. You ever seen that guy who's gone viral? He I think he's from like Uganda or something. He makes like movies with ridiculous
and like the Predator shows up.
There's just like there's like pixely like helicopters.
Yeah. I've seen that. Those are great. Those are hilarious.
Those are hilarious. I don't know if it's like somewhere in Africa, like I don't know, Nigeria or Uganda or something. But
I've seen those. Yeah, those are great. like as badly made as they are, like they're so energetic. They're just so like, and they're so nonsensical. Great. They move so fast. They're great.
Yeah.
Alien versus Hunter. Gee.
Okay. Yeah.
Alan Quatermain and the Temple of Skulls.
Can I say that I actually kind of enjoyed Alien versus Predator? Like out of one of the few like versus movies, I actually thought the lore was kind of cool, where the predators were kind of like saviors for humanity. Like people worship them because they fought the aliens.
Yeah,
which I thought was pretty sweet. I don't remember much else from it, but I feel like in a lot of those movies, they're not. Maybe they are meant to, like, you end up rooting for one. Like one's supposed to be the good guy.
Yeah,
and that one was Predator, like definitely.
Yeah,
which is not a good guy.
I just remember that movie having a very good tagline that I'm surprised does not get brought up every election year. Whoever wins, we lose.
Yeah. that is a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So what other zombie movies?
Well,
I got a bad one. Yeah. I got a really bad one. I was so underwhelmed. My teenage self was so bummed out at how bad this was. It was a movie from 1985 called Hard Rock Zombies. So you would think,
you've talked about this because you got the movie poster, right?
No, I don't. I don't. I love the way it looks. It's a cemetery, and it's made up in like that 1980s, like,
sure,
painted style, which I love.
Yeah,
and it's got a cemetery plot, and then like a fist with like spike, like a spiked glove, like a heavy metal thing coming out of the grave with like a guitar, and you're like, oh fuck yeah, it's like this movie was made for Joe. And I watched it, and it was so fucking bad. Like the hard rock was like cheesy 80s rock. It wasn't like heavy metal. It was like cheesy. It was really bad. And then there's very little gore, and then Hitler's in it for some reason, and there's some like so it was just a really bad, dumb, nonsensical movie. That's one of the few movies where it's like, I'm normally against remakes, but if I ever had a chance to remake a movie, that would be one.
Yeah. I can't think. Well, the Resident Evil movies, I guess we could touch on. Like, they're pretty. I mean, Resident Evil was such a big part of the zombie genre, more than video games. But I liked the first one.
The first one's all right.
Yeah, Raccoon City. The whole like they're all underground, and it's definitely interesting.
Yeah.
Like they get kind of crazy.
Yeah,
but they're fun.
Yeah.
Enough.
I'm surprised that they just kept making them though, because it seems like they maybe they were just profitable enough to be like, all right, fine, let's do Resident Evil 17.
Oh my god, you know who used to scare the shit out of me as a kid?
What?
House of the Dead. The arcade game.
Yeah.
We had this thing near us called Funplex. That was awesome. It was like, it had this giant thing called the Foam Frenzy, which, if anyone listening to this who knows Funplex from North Jersey, you formed alliances with kids at this thing that were like blood alliances that I remember till this day. Because what Foam Frenzy was, it was like multi-tiered. They were foam balls, like little balls. Smaller than like a gator skin ball. I don't know if you remember, but like you had those in gym class with little foam balls that you could like put in gun turrets and stuff and shoot at each other.
Oh shit!
And you would throw them, and it was so much fun. Like they wouldn't hurt at all.
Yeah.
They were so light, but you would like form armies with each other, like groups of friends. It was amazing. For like you couldn't have a better thing for an 8-year-old boy.
Yeah.
Than this place. That was like the middle. Then they had go-karts, batting cages, and then video games, of course, being like the bit like arcade games. And that game scared the crap out of me, but I would always play it with my friend. And that was just such a classic, because like there's one of those things where the camera would just turn and there'd be like a zombie right there.
Yeah.
And you have to shoot it. And those were always really fun. I mean, I think they still have those on the boardwalk here. Like I bet you I could go in and find one of the House of the Deads. I think one of my friends wanted to buy one. I think that's what we were playing, because they had one for sale. He's like, I'm going to buy this. It's like $500. I'm going to buy it. He didn't, because he lives in an apartment, but very fun. Scary though. Like one of those things talking about like, you would always go back to it, but it scared the crap out of you.
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah, that was a classic arcade staple. Did you ever see the movie? The movie by Uwe Boll?
I don't think so.
I think he actually directed. What was that movie that you hated last week? Alone in the Dark.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He
directed that one.
I just published my review on the TRM page for that, by the way.
Oh, cool.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
The movie is so like I watched Skinamarink before it, which was also a bad movie, but bad in a different way. Like that movie, I give credit for trying something. I think the direct like it was a very, very low budget. I think the director, like it's a director I'd definitely like to follow.
Yeah.
It was just an hour and 40 minutes and it should have been 40 minutes. It felt like more, like I said, it should have been like a film school grad project.
Yeah.
Not an hour and 40-minute movie. But I give that looks like The Godfather compared to Alone at Night.
Yeah.
Which was so shitty that it like is one of those shitty movies that makes you angry.
Yeah.
Because it wastes your time.
Uwe Boll is known for doing movies like that.
Well, I wish I knew that before I don't like he might be blacklisted from my movie list.
I think that's a very good thing to do. He has not.
I didn't know that. Who is this guy?
He's a German director who's known for.
Oh my god, German!
I know. He's done several video game movies. So he did House of the Dead. He did Postal. Remember that one? He did a movie on that one.
Postal?
Yeah. Where you just go around shooting people.
That was a video game?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember that. Sorry, I'm trying to lock him up, but my internet.
Oh, so it's spelled UWE Boll BOLL.
I don't know why. All right. No, I don't want to mess with it because my internet's been good, so I don't want to. Anyway, yeah, don't watch Alone at Night. It's like it's not like it's so bad it's good movie either. It's just bad and shitty and like has basically no redeeming qualities.
Awesome, man.
But not a zombie movie, so we won't talk about it anymore now. Yeah. It's not a slasher like at all.
Yeah. Well, any other zombie movies you want to bring up?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head. We probably talked about like 20 there. Yeah. I think if anyone can think of any that you wants to touch on in a future episode, happy to do it. Or have any recommends?
Yeah.
Horror movies in general are one of those like I'll try a lot of different horror movies that I won't give that kind of breadth to for other areas. Yeah. Like I'll try like most exorcism movies, most zombie movies. So feel free to recommend away. They're great. One of my favorite subgenres. That's it for me.
Yeah.
Jose, anything for you?
No, I think I've said my piece.
Okay. Well, we have a Patreon, and you should like and subscribe.
Yeah.
On YouTube because we like and subscribe you too. And don't forget to also leave reviews on or like star us on Spotify.
Yeah,
that'd be sweet. Don't forget about Spotify. And follow us on social media stuff.
Yeah, stay undead or something.
And stay recklessly undead.
Yeah, there we go. All right, bye everybody.
Crits and the zombies.